Good afternoon, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Rancho Mirage City Council and Community Services District, Energy Authority, Housing Authority, Joint Powers Finance Authority, Library and Observatory and Redevelopment Successor Agency Board. It is Thursday, February 5th, 2026. Would you all please stand for the flag salute and join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Downs?
Councilmember Downs?
I am here.
Councilmember Fromberg Edelstein?
Here.
Councilmember Weil?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe?
Here.
Mayor Mulatto?
I am here. Now to the next item, presentations, and we welcome Sunline Transit Agency CEO General Manager Mona Babauta for her presentation on the operation and analysis overview of Sunline. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe and council members, thank you for your time. And great. I'm going to start with this slide.
Hey.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge our Sunline Board Chair, Mulatto, as well. Yeah, Mayor and Chair, dual role today. I'm here to talk about Sunline. I'm Mona Babauta, again, CEO, General Manager for Sunline. I've been there about 2.5 years, so this has been an interesting initiative for me. I'm going to share a little bit more about Sunline Rides Reimagined. And it's a very comprehensive initiative that essentially is going to allow us to understand better the mobility needs of the Coachella Valley. But I'm going to start with some background on Sunline. Sunline is your public transit provider for the Coachella Valley, and we have been your provider for over 49 years. Next year, we celebrate our 50th anniversary. We are a joint powers authority. We are made up of the 9 cities in the Coachella Valley, as well as the unincorporated areas of Riverside County in the valley. Our service area covers over 1,100 square miles. When you look at that land size, it's about the same size as the state of Rhode Island. And so it's a very large service area. It extends all the way from the Salton Sea in the east to San Bernardino, actually to the west. So we operate not only local service within the valley, but we also provide regional service that allows actually a lot of our citizens to go to school at Cal State San Bernardino. And then we also go to downtown San Bernardino, where we connect with Metrolink and other providers in Southern California. So we ensure that we provide that regional connection to anywhere within Southern California as well, in partnership with our neighbors. We carry about 3 million people every single year. That includes ridership on our big buses that have the Sun Bus on the side. We also provide complimentary paratransit service. So that's service that is meant to be provided to those who do not have the physical and cognitive abilities to take fixed route. So those are folks who physically can't do things like walk to a bus stop or read a schedule or understand where to get off from a bus. So, and that service is provided within 3/4 of a mile of a fixed route. So if you're living in an area that doesn't have that big bus, chances are you're not going to get complimentary paratransit either. So we fill in gaps with other services. So we provide Sunride. That is our version of Uber and Lyft. So you can call a number, schedule a ride. It's $3, and you can take a ride within a geo-fenced area. And then we also provide subsidized taxi service. So we are the taxi regulator for all of the Coachella Valley. Instead of the cities managing taxis within each particular city, we do that for you. And we provide subsidized taxi trips up to $150. So essentially, someone could take $150 worth of taxi rides within a month. We will subsidize up to $75. So every dollar someone puts into a ride, we can subsidize that with another $1. That is for folks who are 60 and older or those who meet certain qualifying circumstances, like a disability and so on. And that could be provided on our website, www.sunline.org. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about Sunline Rides Reimagined. So we are early on in the phase or early on in the process. Basically, what we've been doing since last fall is looking at performance data. So we're trying to understand where riders are getting on the bus, where they're getting off, what time of day, what are the key destinations for anyone taking the bus. So we're looking at all of that data very carefully. And we're, as well as how long it takes to get from point A to point B, so travel time. What we're also doing is collecting information from the community through a survey process. So we have an online survey, and it's in English and in Spanish. We're also providing hard copies of the survey. And the hard copies really are for those who are our boots on the ground, going out to places like senior centers, to schools, to Rotary clubs, to other civic centers, to actually meet people where they are and ensure that we understand what their mobility needs are. And let me move on to the next slide. Actually, there's the QR code up there. So that will take you to your to the online survey. And if anyone needs a paper survey, please, again, our website is www.sunline.org. And you can contact us, and we will be more than happy to mail a survey, or we will go out and meet someone and give them a survey, because it's very important that we get that feedback so that we understand what everyone's needs are and set us up for the next 50 years of service. And so with that, Madam Mayor, thank you very much, and council members, thank you very much for the time today.
Mona, if I could ask a favor, could you send a PDF to my email here at the city so that we can share that survey with our senior housing and then also our mobile home parks for starters? We can make those copies and get that distributed, because not every senior has a computer or understands a QR
Absolutely.
code, that type thing. And that would be very helpful, because we'll be visiting with our seniors as far as available resources and what's needed.
Okay, absolutely.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that you and the entire Sunline team do. This has been an ongoing discussion for a long time
Yep.
as to what is needed in our community that's been growing exponentially, how we can add routes. But before you can add routes, you need to know where the needs are.
Absolutely.
And so that needs analysis is ongoing, and we appreciate everyone's efforts.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, we do have one speaker card on this item.
Please.
Michael Harrington.
Thank you, Michael Harrington. I live in Rancho Mirage. The reason I wanted to speak on this item is there was a great presentation, and I find that they're very good at hearing feedback. Am I speaking clearly? That they're good at taking feedback and want feedback and asking for surveys, and I love what they do, and I'm glad they're here. But I did want to point out that in Rancho Mirage, we don't have Sun Ride. And they can clarify if they wish, or maybe their presentation is over, or maybe you know, Mayor. But last I checked, Sun Ride is not in Rancho Mirage. They were studying if it should be here, but Sun Ride is, has a lot of great advantages, and I think we're the only city that doesn't have it, last I checked. It's like $3, I believe, as she said. You can use it to get anywhere, I believe, you're confined to the city. It's geo-fenced, so Rancho Mirage Sun Ride, I believe, is in Rancho Mirage, but there's a lot of stores seniors can't get to. Anyone can take it. It's different than the disabled, I think it's called Sundial for disabled. It's different than that. So people may not qualify for the disabled ride, but could benefit from the Sun Ride. And instead of paying, $25 for an Uber, and as well as a lot of the risk we have these days with Uber, people get in the wrong car and it's not an Uber and they get robbed. I don't know. Sun Ride for $3 can take you to go shopping and get your errands done. on my street, I see one senior, she's afraid to leave because she has a car but doesn't drive well, and she was driving off the curb, and I was helping her. When I saw that, I went to help direct her. Someone could come pick her up and take her where, there's a lot of people that could very well benefit. A car could be down at the shop and you want to go somewhere. It will save us money. I could tell you, being into cars, I'll be quick, an antidote. The little short trips are the hardest on our cars because all that carbon builds up, it doesn't get out, and you get these big repair bills, and if you look into it, it's these short little stop and goes we do around town that are really hard on the cars. So we think we're saving money, not having Sunride or some other transportation system. We're losing money out of our own pocket. We just aren't connecting the dots. Okay, well, thank you, and maybe they could address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mona, would you like to address that topic?
So I appreciate Mr. Harrington's concern. Actually, effective our January service change in early January, we implemented Sunride in Rancho Mirage, acknowledging that there was a gap here. So we actually are in a Sunride geofence right now. So if Mr. Harrington wants to take Sunride going back home, you can use the, my staff can help you with the app if you want to download the app. Yeah. So we could, I can't promise it's going to come in, we would have to work with you on the timing and everything. But we do have Sunride and Rancho Mirage now.
Terrific. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, it was actually in the presentation. So if anyone wants to go back and look at my presentation, there's a map of the geofence in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that's fast delivery. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.
Mayor, we did have one other person who indicated they'd like to speak.
Absolutely.
Please step up to the podium and state your name.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alex Cruz, and I am a public transit advocate. I actually did not know they were going to be here today, but I just want to mention that although Sunride is a good option to have, we really shouldn't let that replace actual public transit, and we can't use that as public transit because it's not. It's a ride-sharing app. So I think we really need to have the main routes on all of our main streets that are used, and we have that grid, a nice grid in Rancho Mirage, where there are no gaps with the bus, and you could just hop on the bus instead of, you see it coming, and hopefully it's no more than 10 or 12 minutes. But just wanted to say that it's more important to focus on the actual fixed routes of Sunbus, and hopefully we could have some great public transit in this valley, because I think that's really going to make us a true paradise, and I think we deserve it. So, yeah, please and thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And actually, and I'll speak to this only because I am the chair of Sunrise this year. I'm sorry, yeah, Sunline Transit. It's a multidiscipline approach. Some need Sunride, some need the paratransit, some need the fixed routes. And that's something that the Sunline team is not only seeking input, as you and I had talked a couple months ago, but also, so they're taking the survey, but they're doing their analysis, and they do plan to add routes. So I appreciate it, because it's been through your input that you've shared with us, one of many, and we appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. Okay, are there any other comments to this
I don't
matter?
believe so. There was no additional speaker cards. Would anyone else like to speak? No additional speakers.
Terrific. We'll move on now to council member comments and reports. And I will start with Council Member Ted Weil.
Thank you, Mayor. The Rancho Mirage Writers Festival continues to be one of our city's signature cultural events. It brings nationally and internationally recognized authors and thoughtful leaders to our community. Last week, over 3 days, the 2026 festival once again showcased Rancho Mirage as a destination for ideas, conversation, and lifelong learning with engaging sessions spanning literature, journalism, history, science, and storytelling. Tickets sold out quickly due to overwhelming demand, reflecting the festival's growing reputation and strong community support. To expand access, most sessions were live streamed, allowing residents, visitors, and audiences from around the world to participate. In the very short period of time since the conclusion of the festival, over 1 million people have tuned in to YouTube to watch the event. Those sessions are now available on demand via the Writers Fest YouTube channel and showing on RMTV Spectrum Channel 17, extending the festival's reach well beyond the weekend. The festival also delivers meaningful economic benefits, supporting local hotels, restaurants, and businesses while enhancing Rancho Mirage's profile as a premier cultural tourism destination. We're grateful to the organizers, volunteers, sponsors, partners, and authors whose dedication makes this event possible. We are already looking forward to 2027. No matter how successful this event is and has been, you'll still get a few naysayers that nitpick tiny little areas that are nonsensical. The program is self-sustaining. The Writers' Festival pays for itself and reimburses the library for staff time. We are fortunate, so fortunate, to have this international event and inure the benefit to our incredible city. I'll now like to talk about one other aspect that is a great bonus for living here in Rancho Mirage. The city's Shop Local Rancho Mirage e-gift card program continues to be a powerful way for residents and visitors to support our local businesses while keeping dollars circulating right here in our community. The current buy one, get one bonus offer ends tomorrow, making this the final opportunity to take advantage of this limited time incentive. While the bonus offer ends tomorrow, bonus cards remain valid through February 17, giving cardholders time to enjoy dining, shopping, and services at participating Rancho Mirage businesses. This program has proven to be highly successful, driving foot traffic to local restaurants, shops, and giving cardholders time to enjoy dining, shopping, and services at participating Rancho Mirage businesses. The program has proven to be highly successful. Shop Local gift cards help strengthen our local economy by supporting small businesses, creating jobs, and generating sales tax revenue that benefits city services and traditionally slower periods of time. Shop Local gift cards help strengthen our local economy by supporting small businesses, creating jobs, and generating sales tax revenue that benefits city services and community programs. We encourage everyone to take advantage of this final day of the bonus offer and continue supporting the businesses that make Rancho Mirage such a vibrant place to live, work, and visit. go to shoplocalrm.com to see the 60 participating businesses and purchase your cards today. Again, a wonderful bonus, a great opportunity to get a Valentine gift for your loved ones, and only a short time remains. But again, you're eligible for the bonus. That will not expire. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Weil. Councilmember Downs?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and welcome everyone. And thank you to Councilmember Weil for talking about the Rancho Mirage Writers Festival, which puts our city on a world stage and provides incalculable value in terms of marketing recognition and bringing additional economic value and tourism to our city. So thank you for mentioning the Writers Festival, Mr. Councilmember. Also, we might recall that it was some months ago that we had the Rancho Mirage High School girls softball team. They were the CIF winners, so we recognized them here in the council chamber some months ago. Well, Tuesday night, the Rancho Mirage High School boys soccer team sewed up the DEL title for soccer. So good for them. Congratulations to them. They are the title winner, and they will go to CIF competition as well. So we'll see how far they go. There are two items that I wanted to advise council and staff and the public about today, and they have to do with recent meetings of the Riverside County Transportation Commission and the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Transportation Committee. First on RCTC. So a goal for RCTC is to build CV Rail. CV Rail is an important economic benefit that eventually, someday, hopefully will come to this desert. It will bring rail traffic from LA, cities in LA County to the desert. Now, an expensive and a time-consuming part of the process of building CV Rail has to do with the California Environmental Quality Act and producing an environmental impact report. Complying with CEQA and producing an EIR for a project this size is a huge undertaking in and of itself. It would cost millions of dollars and take years simply to comply with CEQA. Now, there are exemptions to CEQA for certain rail projects. And here's the exemption. The exemption applies to rail projects that are zero-emission projects, zero emission. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that there is one single local rail project in the country, one and only one. And there are no regional rail projects that are zero emission, none in the country, because the technology doesn't exist. It doesn't work for regional rail transportation. So it's a little like it's a catch-22. Here's an exemption. I often describe catch-22s like this as you need a token to cross the bridge, but all of the tokens are on the other side of the bridge. So we've got this exemption that conceivably could work, but we can't build rail that is zero emission. So what is RCTC attempting to do about this? RCTC is attempting to find a way to make that CEQA exemption apply to CV rail. And there are two assembly members who are looking at trying to shepherd this bill through the legislature. One of them is a local Coachella Valley Assembly member, Jeff Gonzalez. So if we are able to get this to the legislature, and if it passes, it will save millions of dollars and countless hours, countless months and years of time by giving us an exemption to the CEQA project for CV rail. So I would suggest to all of us when we talk to Assembly Member Greg Wallace or our state senator, Rosella Cia Ochoa Bogue, that we support this idea of an exemption from CEQA for CV rail. The second thing I wanted to talk about today has to do with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Transportation Committee. We met on Monday, and staff for CVAG Transportation presented a report to the committee about funding and cash flow concerns. Now, the issue is that cash flow to produce the projects that have already been approved and are on the books from the Transportation Committee and the Executive Committee, they're there. We're trying to build them, but staff projects that we'll run out of funding to build them by about the first quarter of 2028. So we have to find other ways to produce funding or other ways to prioritize the important transportation issues that we need to address along, especially the I-10 corridor. There are a number of interchange projects that must be updated or rebuilt in the coming years, and it's important to do that for our economy because I think the statistic is something like this. It's something like about 40% of all of the goods that are offloaded at the ports of LA and Long Beach travel across I-10 through this desert. So in order to maintain a good economy, we must make sure that it's easy and convenient for those trucks to travel across I-10. It's also the case that tourism dollars are the most important part of our economy here in the desert, and certainly in our city. And tourists like to go to places where it's easy to get around. So it's important for us to build and update those interchanges so that our tourism economy is vital and vigorous. So the Transportation Committee suggested that we set up an ad hoc committee, that the Executive Director, Tom Kirk, establish an ad hoc committee to look into ways to generate additional revenue. I'm going to tell you about just one way to generate additional revenue that the staff suggested that the ad hoc look into, and I'll talk about the TUMF fee. TUMF is the Transportation Uniform Mitigation Fee. It's applied to new construction, either residential or commercial new construction, and it's applied at various levels depending on the size of the building to be constructed. The purpose of TUMF is to compensate government for the cost of having built roadway infrastructure so that people can get to and build those buildings and then use the roadways after those buildings are constructed. So it's a way to even out the cost of having built all of the transportation infrastructure. Well, the TUMF fee, as an example, in western Riverside County, for the typical two-bedroom, three-bath, two or three-bath, single-family residence is a little over $15,000. The TUMF fee for a similar, roughly two-bedroom, two or three-bath, typical single-family residence here in the Coachella Valley is a little under $3,000. So that's one way that we might be able to increase revenues to solve this problem of revenue generation in the future for transportation projects here in the Coachella Valley. So those are the two items that I wanted you to know about today. The CEQA exemption for CV Rail, it's important for us to work on that, and the looming cash flow issue for freeway infrastructure projects in the Coachella Valley. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Downs. Councilmember Eve Fromberg Edelstein.
Thank you, Mayor. I, too, wanted to quickly talk about the Writers' Festival. It was an incredible event. I am really happy to hear about the 1 million people watching. I had found out that during the festival, there was live broadcasts and there were watch parties going on at different houses all over Rancho Mirage, which I thought was a great way to experience it, which is to get together with your friends and spend the day on YouTube watching things live and feeling the same sense of community that I think we all felt on those 3 days in the library. It was 3 days of deep conversation, history lessons, and great advice in leadership and community. There were opportunities to engage in the peaceful exchange of ideas and civil discourse, which we need now more than ever. But most interesting for me was a session on the history of sandwiches. There was a cookbook sold called Sandwiches of History by Barry Enderwick, who also has a Sandwiches of History Instagram, TikTok, YouTube channel where he makes different sandwiches on a daily basis, which in and of itself is really interesting because he's not a chef. That's not his background. His background is in digital branding, but this has become his hobby. Unfortunately for his waistline, this is also his hobby, as he admitted. But he did a great hour on sandwiches and their history, belief on how they started, how they've evolved. It was incredibly in-depth, and there were such topics as butter versus mayonnaise, when the world started toasting their bread, and generally why we love sandwiches so much. And most importantly, it was a really engaging Q&A session about people talking about their regional sandwiches and also the sandwiches of their childhood, the sandwiches most famously that your mother or your caregiver may have made for you that involved whatever ingredients they found in the kitchen and they told you that was a recipe. So it was really interesting, and no pun intended, it was a great palate cleanser for our minds after a day of heavy history. In addition, another highlight for me personally was there were several presentations by Lieutenant General Russell Honore, who was in attendance, who had 2 books that he has authored. One was about leadership, and another one is, I believe, entitled Stupid Things Not to Do, which is a really good title for a book. I bought both for my son. He, in depth, spoke about the evacuation of New Orleans in the face of Hurricane Katrina, which was timely in the event that about a week later we had a massive, well, I would consider, I have a huge fear of earthquakes. So anything over 4.5 feels like 7.8 to me. 5.1 earthquakes centered in Indio. And I think it was a great reminder that a lot of communities plan for disaster and fail, or don't plan at all and then fail. Lieutenant Honore spoke about taking over the evacuation of that city probably 5 days later than it should have happened, and saving many people, most of whom afflicted were those that were lower income and those living on minimum or poor wages. And also, especially the disabled and seniors that were living by themselves that did not have an opportunity to evacuate because they didn't have the means and they had no one to help them with their mobility challenges, which I think probably aptly describes this community as well. It was sobering, it was enlightening, and it got us thinking. We are really lucky in our city that we have an earthquake preparedness committee or commission. Most of our desert cities do not. This commission works very, very hard on community outreach and community education building, especially about things like having proper water, having go bags. And I think that our citizens would be wise to look this up on the city website and get more involved to make sure you have your home equipped in the event of an earthquake. My biggest fear is if that earthquake were to happen in the summer and we were dealing with excessive heat on top of what would be an already challenging time. In addition to that, published in the Desert Sun last week was an article by Rancho Mirage resident Eric Cunningham, who's very involved in the library and sits on one of our library commissions, about the first week after a massive earthquake were to hit our valley and what we could expect. It is, I think, real, in real time. If you don't read it and aren't shook to your core, then you read it again, because I think it is what we all are going to face. And I've heard this record of possibility many times in my life, but now that I have a home and a child and a dog and an electric car and a lot of other things that make things different, I'm reading it even closer, especially in regards to water and the lack of utilities and the lack of resources. We will most likely be cut off from the major cities of the rest of our state that would provide a lot of our services. And so we may be on our own for longer than 2 weeks as a community. And we're going to have to learn to rely on ourselves and each other to get through. So I would suggest that everybody read the article, reach out to the to the Earthquake Preparedness Commission for more information or assistance. They give public reports, and they will come to your HOA, they will come to your community and teach you how to get prepared, and they make it easy and not overwhelming. And also there is the Coachella Valley Disaster Preparedness Network, CVDPM, that also offers it. In fact, Mitch Brown, our commissioner chair, is involved in both organizations. And those resources are free to all of us beyond just Rancho Mirage. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I, too, loved the history of sandwiches. I also enjoyed Tina Brown telling us secrets about the royal family, so check that out on YouTube. All of you know that the number one responsibility of our city and government is to provide public safety, and the city of Rancho Mirage is committed to providing residents and visitors with a safe place to live, work, and shop. That includes maintaining safe streets. And that commitment is carried out each day by the dedicated men and women of our law enforcement and traffic enforcement teams who serve on the front lines of public safety throughout our community. This commitment is supported through regular patrols of city streets and daily motor traffic enforcement. So in addition to these routine efforts, the city conducts several targeted operations throughout the year to enhance traditional traffic safety measures. So over this past year, our traffic division has carried out focused operations to improve roadway safety. That included 2 DUI enforcement events and 2 Valley Motor Enforcement Team VMET operations. Through the 2 DUI checkpoints, officers made contact with nearly 2,000 drivers in our city. It led to 5 DUI arrests, and there were other citations for other traffic violations. These proactive DUI enforcement efforts play a critical role in preventing impaired driving, reducing serious collisions, and they ultimately save lives on our city streets. In addition to the DUI checkpoints, the traffic team also conducts the VMAT operations, which involve a large number of motorcycle officers focusing on specific areas within the city. These officers come from the cities of Beaumont and Banning and Cathedral City, La Quinta, and Indio, so it is a collaborative effort. And over the past 2 years, these operations have resulted in approximately 220 citations, reflecting the scale and impact of this collaborative enforcement effort in maintaining the safety on our streets. And some of those citations include speeding and red light running and stop sign running and cell phone violations. And can I add my own? Please turn on your blinkers when you make a turn or get into a different lane. These are essential components of our commitment to traffic safety, and they help deter impaired and unsafe driving. It increases the visibility of law enforcement. It addresses traffic-related concerns before they result in serious collisions. So on behalf of the City Council and our community, I would like to sincerely thank our law enforcement officers who are here today and the regional partners for their professionalism and dedication. Everyone who travels to our city knows that we're a great place to be. And it's thanks to efforts like this. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Citizens on Patrol, the COPS program, who are volunteers, and they help assist the officers, the eyes and ears of our law enforcement. If you have interest and time, please consider becoming a member of the Citizens on Patrol. They are a great group of folks. They provide an invaluable service. And there's one more thing I'd like to mention. We are in the process, I want to be careful here. Mr. Cotting told me to be careful here. We are tentatively working on a new animal rescue rally for our city. Those of you who remember the last time we did it, we transformed the Rancho Mirage Library into Doggy Wonderland. And it was quite an event. We had more than 200 people show up. We spayed, neutered, microchipped, and adopted out animals. So we're looking at doing this again. I think that the library personnel is happy that we're going to do it somewhere else. We're going to move it and make it larger out by the farmers market on Friday, tentatively March 13th. The farmers market attracts hundreds of people each Friday, as will this rescue rally, where we will do adoptions and microchipping and vaccinations, and I hope spay and neutering as well. So keep an eye out for it. We'll be advertising this as we get closer. And there's also some other good news on the animal front, is that within the next couple of months, we will have the Rancho Mirage Pet Urgent Care, which will be a 24-hour animal emergency care facility, which is sorely needed in this valley, as you know. And that will be opening at Bob Hope in 111 sometime within the next few weeks. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
I really can't add anything with regards to the Writers' Festival. It was just spectacular in every way, and it seems to get better every year. It's amazing what the staff and the Writers' Festival staff accomplish, and just when you think they can't top themselves, they do. My comments are pretty brief this afternoon. As all of you know, I'm looking at my notes here. because I want to make sure I get everything right. As most of you are aware, the city has been aggressively working on our affordable housing projects. And we've had some twists and turns and funding that disappears. And, we scratch our heads and try to figure out how we get to the next step. The City of Rancho Mirage is most grateful and appreciative to Congressman Ken Calvert, our congressional representative. And he put in for us through his appropriations efforts and secured $5 million for our Via Vale roadway improvement project, which is a vital component towards our city's affordable housing mandate. And this project is over by our dog park. And this funding was from the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Appropriations, and it ensures continued progress and in quality, affordable housing for our seniors, our veterans, and for those in our workforce, which is vital to our continuing efforts to improve our economic plan, our strategic plans, our Highway 111 plans, because if we can't get our workers closer to work, we're going to lose them, whether they work in the hospitals or retail or through our hospitality. So thank you, Congressman Calvert, for always looking out for the city of Rancho Mirage. We are most grateful. Moving on. Next is city manager comments and reports.
None today, Madam Mayor.
All right, then we'll move on to the consent calendar.
The council has 6 items on the consent calendar for consideration, items 5A through 5F. Item 5A is to approve the January 15th, 2026 regular city council meeting minutes. Item 5B is to authorize the city manager to enter into an MOU for shared emergency management services within Cove CERT classes with the Cove cities. Item number 5C is the adoption of a resolution that would allow staff to perform the necessary steps to submit for all Cal Recycle grants. Item 5D is to receive and file the quarterly treasurer's report for the quarter ending December 31st, 2025. Item 5E are contracts, and staff has a requested amendment. So if, when the council makes a motion on the consent calendar, if they would consider adding the tabling of contract number 3 with Visit Greater Palm Springs. So we would like to remove contract number 3 from the consent calendar, which is with Visit Greater Palm Springs. Item 5F are demands. Before we go to the council for questions or comments, I'll ask the city clerk to take public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you. Our first speaker is Michael Harrington.
Well, hello again, Michael Harrington, I live in Rancho Mirage. So I did submit a written comment, so I'll just keep it short, but I did get a little more information sense that I wanted to supplement in addition to the written comment. But first of all, I agree with everything that all of you have said, praising the Writers' Festival. It sounds wonderful to bring all these people here to our city and get known as well internationally at this point with all those great speakers. But my background, maybe it's my background and I look at these things more than other people. To maintain the future of the festival, that it's doing great, but what about compliance issues? I saw a lot of red flags, and I don't like to be in the role. I think one of the council members here might know what it's like to be in the role of having to say to a client, well, we got to do something about this, or you got to listen to me about that, and they don't want to. But I kind of have to play that role. If we want to make sure that the spending is in compliance, so we don't have a problem later. You never know when it could come up. If there's a new law, if there's a contribution made, a political contribution, now there's a time frame of which recusal is required or rejection is required of the contribution. And I'm not saying there was or wasn't a contribution. I'm just saying if I saw questions jump out at me and I don't have the answers. Also, if the attorneys representing both the city and is stated to represent the nonprofit on the nonprofit's website, the city attorney is listed as the attorney for the nonprofit, the Writers Festival. Now, I don't know, maybe they waived out of that. I don't know how you can waive out of it, but that was a red flag. Maybe there's answers. I'm not concluding. I'm just, there was no presentation here. There was just a consent calendar, move on, no explanation. I saw a lot of money that seems to be going to the festival and keep it running. When I do nonprofit work, no one has ever, if I go to a school, I got to pay for the event space. I've never had someone, unless I get a grant. You can give a grant, but it seems like you're giving money directly to speakers and to staff and facilitate the nonprofit, but yet it's $500 to go. It sells out in minutes, so we can't go. And it's not local. If everyone in the world can watch it on YouTube, how is it local to us? We're not getting special insurance as a resident or anything like that. But other than that, I do see it as a great thing. I'm not trying to throw water on it. But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. Are there any other speakers?
Yes, Brad Anderson.
I have the old man walk. Thank you very much. And I recommend all city residents take a look at the previous speaker's written comments. Very, very good points about the city's operations. I wanted to talk today on the consent calendar. I wanted to hit all the items except item D, but I'm not going to. I'm going to concentrate on item E, which is the contracts, and you removed contract 3 today, which is good. I did, just so everybody knows, everything I'm speaking about or everything on the agenda, I did write some comments and submitted them, and I believe they're on the record now. Item contract, item 5E1 is what I want to focus on, and that's the amendment to a contract for the flock cameras that the city has for the license plate recognition devices all over the city. There's only 5 mentioned in this amendment, and I guess we're going up in price. My understanding is roughly like $5,000 a year per item now, per device, for that contract. That's excessive. That's excessive. But anyway, that's really not my point. My point is that these cameras have been stationed on private property, on public rights of way, and focused on private property. So I guess I just want to put the city on notice that there possibly will be, I don't want to say legal action, but interest in this matter that I'm gonna address later on. Concerning the misuse of public funds for these cameras. So, and that's all I have. I have the minutes too, but I did write comments concerning how the city has more or less eliminated, I guess, recording verbal comments. Like today, verbal comments, my verbal comments would not be recorded into the public records, written public record. And that's a shame, because it should be, because the city's always done that from day one. That's how Mr. Downs got all his information concerning the first mayor and the first councilor. And now historical facts will be lost. Because I look at the minutes because I don't have time to review all the public meetings that I review, including the city, so on YouTube. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Are there any other comments?
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on something on the consent calendar? That was the last speaker.
Madam Mayor, if I could just clarify one point with the Writers Festival.
Yes.
So that is a separate 501c3. And so the expenses that are on the demands report are paid for out of that foundation's account. That's not city money. That's donors to that 501c3 that cover those costs. So it's not a cost to the city.
Thank you for that clarification. With that, may I have a motion
I'll be happy to make the motion, Madam Mayor, that we approve the consent calendar with the exception of contracts, item 5E, the specific item that deals with Visit Greater Palm Springs.
I'll second that.
Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We're moving on to public hearings. This is the annexation of number 203 to Community Facilities District number 1 in connection with tentative tract map number 38447. The location is southwest corner of Via Florencia and Via Josefina. And Jacob De La Cruz, our financial analyst, will report on this item.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Council. This item is to hold a public hearing for annexation number 203 into Community Facilities District number 1. This is the second and final step of the city's annexation process for developments within the city's jurisdiction, and the first step was considered and approved at the December 18th council meeting. The territory proposed for annexation is located on the southwest corner of Via Florencia and Via Josefina, and is comprised of one parcel totaling approximately 5.04 acres. At the conclusion of today's public hearing, provided written protests have not been filed, and in the absence of a majority protest, the City Council may consider adoption of the attached resolution, calling a special election, declaring the results of the election, determining the validity of prior proceedings, approving the annexation of the territory, and directing the recording of an amendment to the notice of special tax lien. Staff recommends approval, and that concludes my presentation.
Are there any public comments?
Thank you. I did not receive any speaker cards on this item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to provide public testimony on this public hearing item? Seeing none, I can go ahead and read the election results.
Please.
The ballot for the 6 eligible votes was received on February 5th, 2026, and was in favor. Therefore, votes cast in favor equal 100% of total votes cast.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move to adopt resolution number 2026 next in order, calling an election on levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 1, annexation number 203, declaring the election results, approving the annexation of the territory, and directing the recordation of the amendment of the notice of special tax lien.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to the action calendar. Item 7A, Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding by and between the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians and the City of Rancho Mirage, and our city manager, Isaiah Hagerman, will report on this item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The item before you today would be the termination of our longstanding MOU with the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians. So a little bit of history here is when the Rancho Mirage Base Casino was first being proposed, excuse me, it was actually in the county. And the city had some concerns about a very tall building, especially back in those days when there wasn't a lot of height in the valley. Still today, you don't see buildings of that size and magnitude. And the tribe is obviously a sovereign government, right? They're a federally recognized tribal Indian nation. And so as a tribal government, they can set their own rules. And just like we as a city government can set our own rules. And so, obviously, when it comes to things like city rules, when it comes to height limitations and things like that we govern development, those things do not apply on tribal land because the tribal government gets to set those rules over themselves. And so, as a sovereign government, when you're on tribal land or a Lot-T land, you are in a government-to-government peer relationship, even though they may be within your jurisdictional boundaries. And so in those days, Tribal Chairman Milanovic really recognized with Dana Hobart an opportunity to come together and settle some of the concerns and tensions that were existing at the moment. And so really those two paved a path that we enjoy today which is a great government-to-government partnership that we have with the tribe. You can look across Rancho Mirage in the valley anywhere. The tribe has their land, and you can see the benefit of having the tribe here locally. And there's many examples of how we partner together on a government-to-government basis. So our 4th of July fireworks show is one, but really through the history of the city, if they have the opportunity to kind of receive revenue, they're always usually very conscious with what's the impact to the city. And so, over time, courts rule differently, and it's based on federal court rulings. And so what you've seen really kind of expand is it kind of started with gaming and the ability to do gaming. And they have an agreement with the state that allows that, and kind of built within that compact, that agreement, was the kind of requirement that they enter into kind of agreements like this to mitigate impacts of their development. And so kind of the deal that was crafted was the city of Rancho Mirage was going to annex in the casino into our city limits so that it would be a Rancho Mirage based and get it out of the unincorporated county. And in exchange, kind of there were several things going on at the time. The tribe provided a funding source for streets and roads that needed to be improved in and around the casino. And there were a few other financial aspects that were negotiated between the two governments as part of this annexation. So this MOU was actually kind of part of that process. And it was really meant to bridge the gap for some of our public safety funding. So obviously, with the casino being there, public safety resources would have to respond there. And so how this agreement worked is it was really set up like TOT, transient occupancy tax. And so on casino hotel room nights, just like a resort night, right, there's a 10% local tax that is paid by the guest. And so on casino room nights, the tribe agreed through this MOU to collect that and remit that to the city of Rancho Mirage for the purpose of helping fund public safety. So from a city perspective, this was not TOT, this was an in lieu public safety fee. And so it was tracked separately, so it wasn't commingled with TOT because it's not TOT. It was TOT is not applicable to the tribal lands because, again, they set their own rules, right? So even though we have a hotel tax, that hotel tax was not applicable to the tribe's casino hotel because, again, they're a sovereign government and they would set their own rules and taxes. Just like the sales tax today, if you were to go to the casino, the sales tax doesn't come back to the city, right? That's their sales tax. So they voluntarily agreed to enter into this MOU to collect this in lieu public safety fee that worked like TOT. And so this was approved by the council in March of 2007, and officially after the annexation, there was an assignment by the county about a year later. And ever since then, the tribe has been collecting this in lieu public safety fee on casino room nights and remitting that to the city. The city has been splitting this revenue 50% to sheriff, 50% to fire and medical services. And so in the current budget, it's approximately $500,000 per year. Obviously, through time, like any TOT, it goes up and down depending on the economy and levels of visitors. And then the casino is a little unique in that their business model isn't like a traditional resort because sometimes they'll comp rooms because of the gaming nature of it. And so TOT has always been, or the in lieu public safety fee on the casino has always been a little variable and probably a little lower than what we would see with our other resorts because of just the dynamics of how it runs. And so early last year, the tribe started approaching us and putting a federal case that was on their radar. The exact case is referenced in the staff report, but essentially what this ruling did is it made the requirement to do this null and void. And so the tribe could have gone to the state and basically voided this agreement. However, because of our, partnership and relationship, right, they came to us and said, hey, we're watching this, but it's going to impact this if it's going the way we all think it's going. And sure enough, it did. So there were several meetings at a staff level with tribal staff. And at the end of the day, the request from the tribe was, we would really like to work with you to end this MOU instead of going to the state, which we could. But we'd like to work with you to end this MOU because really as a government, right, we would like to start to collect this TOT for our own purposes. Obviously, with the city of Rancho Mirage being a government that funds a substantial part of its services from TOT, we understand the value of that. So from a government to government perspective, obviously we could understand why they would want to do that. And so what this action would do is it would phase out this MOU agreement as of June 30th, 2026. So that will allow us to finish our fiscal year so that we're not making any amendments to the current fiscal year. However, so there's no fiscal impact to this year's budget. However, when we budget for next year's budget, this will not be in there. So that will reduce public safety funding by about $500,000. In reality, as we look over the long term of the city, this was probably more revenue than the impact of public safety for the city of Rancho Mirage. Public safety is not a cost for service model, but when you kind of look at responses and things of that nature, this probably was a little on the heavy end compared to the impact to our public safety. So the tribe's done many other things for our public safety specifically. And so there were a few concepts that were tossed around between the staff of, what could potentially come, after this. And so, but we're still pretty early on in those discussions, and we don't have anything to present at this point. But really looking at, kind of history and our relationship with the tribe, they've done grants for us in the past where we've been able to go with to the tribe with specific needs for public safety, and they've provided grants and things of that nature to support our public safety. So at this point, we don't have a direct offset. This would be just a future reduction of $500,000 within next year's budget. But at the end of the day, I do believe at some point, right, there will be some other public safety funding that is worked out, whether that's, possibly something with a third fire station or some sort of grant process that we can go through. It's just there's nothing to present today since we are still in the works on it. So the action today would terminate that MOU as of June 30th, 2026. And with that concludes my presentation, and I will ask the city clerk to take any public comment.
We have one speaker card, Brad Anderson.
Hello, Brad Anderson. I currently live within the city. Thank you for the report. I think I recommend people read the staff report to really get a grasp on it. I'm in full support of this. The tribe should really consider other MOUs that may have with the city or the county, and maybe terminate those too. So I'm all in support of this. Thank you.
That was the only speaker card. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak on this item? That was the only speaker.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council comments. Councilmember Fromberg-Edelstein? No comment. Okay. Councilmember Downs?
I do. So no one likes to see $500,000 in revenue go away, but it's also the case that by law, it's got to go away anyway. So the tribe has come to us to discuss this and figure out other ways to handle this issue. So I don't have any doubt that at some point in the future, the tribe will work with us to try to cover this cost. But we don't have any choice but to do this since it is what it is. Madam Mayor, please forgive me. I do want to, for a moment, circle back to item 5F demands and the comment Thank you, Mr. Harrington, for bringing up your comment about the Writers' Festival. And I think now that you know that it is a separate 501c3, it operates on its own revenues and expenses. It does not impact the city at all. But it is certainly the case that what the city does is provide accounting services for the Writers' Festival. But it's their money, not the city's money. Now, the other issue that I think is important for everyone to be aware of with respect to the Writers' Festival and financial impact on the city, the Writers' Festival does contribute $25,000 a year to that library. And the board of the Writers' Festival is looking at increasing that number over time. So it's not the case that the city experiences expense because of the Writers' Festival. We experience a great deal of worldwide recognition because of it, and we also receive direct financial remuneration to operate that library as a result of it. So forgive me for circling back, but I thought that was important to talk about. In any event, I'm prepared to make this measure if anybody else, unless anybody else has any comments.
Councilmember Weil.
As the city manager said, I have every confidence that we will work out something mutually acceptable with the tribe. Going back to the relationship that was referenced between Dana Hobart and Chairman Milanovic many years ago. At that time, they really coined the expression sphere of influence, that the tribe's hotel and casino were within Rancho Mirage's sphere of influence. And that kind of was the yardstick that was then used to formulate a mutuality of interest. As a result of that, and as a result of the mutuality of interest, and most importantly, the mutual respect that the tribe and the city have for each other, I have every reason to believe that we will work out something that is mutually acceptable, both from a practical and economic standpoint. So those are my comments, and as a result, I would endorse the recommendation. Thank you, Mayor.
City Manager.
Sorry, I failed to mention this, and I do want to recognize this publicly. The tribe does contract with sheriff deputies directly, and they pay for that directly. And so that's why I kind of alluded to the comment that, this fee is probably greater than the cost, is through the recent years, we call it green sheet. So they will green sheet their own deputies for their own purposes. Obviously, if it's a 911 based call, then yes, our units are going to go. If it's a medical response, yes, our units will go. But if you've ever been there and you've seen deputies, those are most likely the green sheet deputies that the tribe's paying for.
Thank you for that clarification. Mayor Pro Tem? No. This city, as well as the other cities within the reservation, the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians, have enjoyed decades of a phenomenal community partnership. Even through my 23 years at the city of Cathedral City, I don't have enough fingers on my hands to describe the many actions of kindness and contribution to communities, and certainly here in Rancho Mirage, we've experienced the same. I appreciate the fact that Chairman Milanovic and his council reached out to the city to discuss this item instead of going to the state. That exhibits the relationship that we have between the tribe and the city, and we are most grateful and we are most appreciative. With that, we have a motion from Councilmember Downs.
I'll be happy to make the motion that the council approve the amendment to the Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding by and between the Agua Caliente Band of Cahuilla Indians and the City of Rancho Mirage.
I'll second.
Councilmember E. Fromberg Edelstein seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Next item on the action calendar, 7B, adoption of the City of Rancho Mirage legislative platform. Tyler Folks, our senior management analyst, will report on this item.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. The item before you, there it is, it's up on screen. The item before you today is the proposed adoption of the city's legislative platform, which establishes council-approved guiding principles and policy priorities for the city's advocacy at the regional, state, and federal levels. The purpose of this platform is to give staff clear direction on how to engage in legislative and regulatory matters as they arise, while ensuring the city's positions remain aligned with council priorities and community values. The platform establishes advanced direction that allows the city to engage early and respond quickly and proactively to legislative proposals, rather than being limited to responding at later stages of the process. At its core, the platform is grounded in the council's guiding values, including protecting local decision-making authority, maintaining fiscal stability, supporting public safety and quality of life, pursuing fair access to funding, and ensuring growth aligns with Rancho Mirage's long-term community vision. The platform also outlines major policy areas that staff will use as a framework when evaluating legislation, regulations, or budget proposals. These areas reflect the city's operational responsibilities and issues most likely to impact residents, services, and long-term community planning. Adopting this platform authorizes the city manager or their designee to advocate on the city's behalf when positions are clearly consistent with council direction. If an issue is unclear, significant, sensitive, or the city manager deems additional council direction is necessary, staff will bring it back to the city council for guidance. I want to thank each of the city's directors for taking the time to review the platform and ensure alignment with their department's operations and needs. And with that, staff recommends adoption of the legislative platform, and staff are available to answer questions.
Madam Clerk, any comments?
Yes, Brad Anderson.
Thank you again, Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. This is item 7B. In theory, it sounds great, and it probably is a good thing to have some type of policy. But it does, when I read through it, it's kind of a fluffy piece, which means that maybe most of it isn't accurate. But also, my main concern would be that the city manager is dictated more authority in this process when the city council needs to weigh in on anything like this. So my concern would be dictating that authority to the city manager to make on his own. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional public comments?
That was the only speaker card. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? And that was the only speaker.
Thank you. Are there any council comments?
I'd like to comment. I'd like to commend our staff on these recommendations and the time you took to put this together. I want to commend my fellow council people and members that while we were very busy, we all took the time to review it, read this, and discuss it. And that's why we are comfortable advancing this policy, at least I am. And I would be happy to make this motion when we're so ready.
Councilmember Downs, do you have any comments?
I kind of think that we can figure out how to manage the city manager if he does something we don't want him to do with respect
We usually do.
to our legislative platform. So I'm okay with this. I'm going to vote yes. Thanks.
All right. Councilmember Weil?
No, I have no comment. I endorse the idea.
Very good. Mayor Pro Tem?
I just would like to thank Tyler for the work you did and all the directors for this. It's great to have a guidepost, guiding light with direction that is easy to understand. So I think this is a terrific thing.
Terrific. And
I'll make
Council-
the motion to adopt the City of Rancho Mirage legislative platform to establish City Council approved guiding principles and policy priorities for legislative and regulatory advocacy at the regional, state, and federal levels.
I'll second.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to item number 8, non-agenda public comments. Madam Clerk, I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you. First speaker is Carrie Eisen.
Do we have a speaker card from that baby?
Hello, my name's Carrie Eisen. I'm a resident with Indian Wells. I apologize that baby Amelia fell asleep with the agenda. She wasn't interested.
We're fighting it too.
So in 2025, I birthed 2 babies, 1 human and 1 desert rodeo. Desert rodeo takes place in April, and we had our inaugural year in 2025, and we are having our 2nd annual desert rodeo this coming April. I wanted to make sure that I got in front of the city of Rancho Mirage and express that we want to see more attendance from the Rancho Mirage residents. In our first year, we had 15,000 in attendance, which I think is really promising and speaks to the interest. We had a lot of regional and nationwide press. For background, Desert Rodeo is a real PRCA sanctioned rodeo. For that reason, it draws top competitors from around the world. We had #1 ranked bull rider Stetson Wright and renowned barrel racers like Haley Kinzel. And Desert Rodeo is also featured in the New York Times year-end capsule for influential moments. So we have that in print and we have it in our archives. So we are excited to just be another avenue to showcase the treasures of the desert. And we want City of Rancho Mirage to be along for the ride from the beginning. As a member and with the support of the Chamber of Commerce, I would like to connect with the city office to see how Desert Rodeo and the City of Rancho Mirage can be mentioned in the same breath, spread the word to the residents, and provide some special benefits as well for passes and hospitality. My contact information is in the public comments, and you can learn more on our website, desertrodeo.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I wish I could find a way to sleep like that baby does.
Next speaker is Chris Christensen.
Your mother would need a baby carrier.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and rest of the council members and staff. I am Chris Christensen. I'm the CEO of the Desert Healthcare District Foundation, and I am here before you today to make a communication that regarding the Desert Healthcare District. And I think a lot of people are becoming more and more aware of us, some related to the hospital lease. I won't go into that topic, but we are at this point, we are a public agency that works to provide access to healthcare in the Desert Healthcare District, which encompasses all of the Coachella Valley. And so our board of directors is currently in the process of working on its new 5-year strategic plan, which will be from fiscal year 2027 to 2031. And we've done a lot of work around that strategic plan already over the last 6 months. We now are at the point where we are taking the show on the road, and we are doing some community listening sessions. It's very important for us and for our board members to hear from the public and to hear the community's voice as we continue to develop this strategic plan. So I have provided some flyers, and if there's some opportunity for some social media type opportunities to submit to your residents, et cetera. We do have seven separate listening sessions that will be going on over the course of February. And the best ones to attend, they're both on February 19th. One is in Palm Desert at 11:30 a.m., and the other is in La Quinta that evening from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And they are all public is welcome. We would appreciate any of the council members to be present if they would like, and hear what is happening with the healthcare district, and also give comments on what you would like to see in healthcare access to your community. And there will be a $200 gift card as a drawing for attendance. There will be food served, and there will be Spanish and ASL translation. And I'm available to answer any questions if you would like.
Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do want to tell you that we didn't have any problem with the lease. We're glad that you extended the lease. That's fine. Don't have a problem with that. The only issue we had was with that damn non-compete. We don't like that at all.
I hear you.
Chris, we'll definitely share that through city channels. Really appreciate everything you do for the district. And thank you for making it through our meeting. And we'll,
Absolutely. Good work
share
that you're
through
doing.
city channels. So.
I'd also like to say thank you for the announcement of an additional, I think, $5 million of new upcoming health funding that you approved. You know how much is going on right now, how threatened healthcare is. You are a critical partner for all the healthcare agencies in the Valley that take care of our constituencies across all cities and unincorporated. So thank you for making that funding available. It is needed and it will be used.
Thank you. And to that point, if I may, and that's part of the work that we're doing with this new strategic plan, is because traditionally our annual budget for grant funding is $5 million a year. And so with the resources that we currently have, as well as the new lease funding that will come, which is about $650 million over a 30-year period, that is part of our planning, is to potentially increase the grant funding program, look at real estate types of opportunities in areas that we are allowed to under the non-compete language, unfortunately. And that's in the more designated underserved areas that, are north of the 10 and wrapping around to Mecca, Thermal, Coachella areas and that, which that's where, we anticipate that the population growth will occur. And so there will be infrastructure needed. And so we will be able to provide resources and build and own clinics, urgent cares, et cetera. And I'm speaking probably out of turn because our directors will be the ones that will be deciding that type of work, but allows us opportunity to expand our efforts to provide access to healthcare. And I think it's going to be a wonderful program going forward, but yet we also have to be good stewards of those resources and manage those into perpetuity, because at the end of 2057, unfortunately, we do lose the hospital. So this is a very critical strategic planning process for us, very different from our prior strategic plans. So we welcome all the public to participate in that.
Thank you for your efforts in doing the public outreach, because so many people don't have access, and it's a critical part. Ted, do you have any comments?
No. I would rather leave it on a positive note. Obviously, Councilman Downs mentioned the problem we had with the non-compete, which was an issue, and hopefully in your expansion to these areas in need that you've alluded to, that won't be an obstacle as far as providing service to all entities. That's what we're hoping for.
There's a little bit of opening in there that we have some opportunity with relation to real estate. So I think there's some possibilities that could occur there. Right now, we need to get through this validation action so that we can get through the legalities and hopefully move on to work on whatever partnership that we can. So, anyway, again, thank you. It's huge for us in this healthcare access, and especially during this time of our challenges with immigration, undocumented residents, and such, that we need to provide the access to the care to those residents of the community. And that's part of the huge component of us. And I'm sorry I'm taking a little more time.
That's okay.
But, you know, one of the programs that we started, you know, back during the pandemic was a mobile clinic program that is taking healthcare to residents of the community that don't really have the ability, whether it's transportation or whatever the social determinants of health that might limit their access to going to a physical location for a medical appointment, and promoting, you know, telehealth types of services, because it's becoming more and more of a challenge for our district residents that have immigration concerns to be able to get to their health care. And so taking medical care to the residents that don't have that access is critical, and that's a program that will increase with our future work.
Very good.
So,
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Patrick Lowry?
Good afternoon, Patrick Laurie, 22-year resident of Rancho Mirage. A couple of things here. Nobody opposes $2 million to Eisenhower more than me. Maybe you should turn that $2 million over to the housing project for a lower income. Again, the Lord does not reside at Eisenhower, far from it. Next is, I want to give my compliments to Mr. Christensen. I had a chance to meet with him, as I've had a chance to go to several of the meetings of the healthcare district. Remarkable people. Remarkable what they do and how careful they are about giving and how sincere they are in giving. So if you get a chance to attend these meetings, and again, Mr. Christensen, I can't believe his door is wide open to meet with me, because you and I have a small disagreement on Measure AA, and I'm going to attack that through social media. Not terrible, I understand the situation, but there's a lot more here and it's complex, and I'm not a quick learner. But I'm there and I'm trying. Now, next thing is, Ms. Mulatto, on your monthly comment, just to remind you and the district here, February is Black History Month, and maybe we should make some comments about that. No big deal, because I like your comments, I enjoy you. Finally, watching TV the other day, or maybe a month ago, my wife and I kept seeing these things on what the Jewish community is going through. I'm not Jewish. Matter of fact, I'm kind of anti-religious. I do what Oscar Wilde does, which is religion is, you know, a blind person walking into a black room looking for a black cat that isn't there. One of his more famous statements, right? But this had bothered us, and we don't believe in being bystanders. We believe in fighting the battle as best we can from our little micro position. So we decided to go to a Shabbat. The Shabbat, I don't know. But we've been to a couple. We were welcomed. We felt awkward. And so we're giving as best we can. I mean, I can't believe that you go to a place for a Shabbat and there's a big fence around it, and on there, when they have the services, they have an armed guard. That's incredible to me. I hope the city is paying attention to some of this. We have approximately, between Cathedral City and here, about 6,000 Jewish people. Rancho Mirage between 2 and 4. It depends on how you look at it, I guess. Again, let's pay attention to this. This is kind of a tragedy. Think of Bondi Beach. You know, think about what we might have been able to do or to give or to think about or to comment on when it comes to such terrible tragedies. So anyway, I don't want to make it I. Let's pay attention to that. It's really something to meet with these folks and to be brought in by them. Wonderful moment for me. Good work to some extent. Take care.
Thank you.
Wally Melendez?
Hey, good afternoon to everybody. Thanks to the Brown Act for our 3 minutes of fame. Wednesday, I'm going to be 81 years old. Thank God. My mother died at 76, and my father died at 74. My sister died at 52 from diabetes. Number one, let's be more attentive to the 3-minute limit, please. Number two, my sister's name was Esther. I'm not going to go into a tirade about the national government. Things are moving along in the courts and in the Congress to get rid of the crook. And I'm also thankful for my captured audience right now. Or the captured audience in this place. That's what I mean. I do want to thank this group for carrying on the agenda of this town in an early way. You know, I used to play pool when I was younger. And I went to this pool hall, where everybody spoke Spanish. And this is to let you know how much I appreciate English. So somebody would be playing pool and they'd hit the ball with a stick, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And so some people there would say, and I'm going to tell you in Spanish, would say, échale inglés, put some English on it. Because with English, you can say things, you can say them in Spanish too, but in English, it's easier. So when you hit the ball with a stick and you put the right English on it, it does what you want to do.
Thank you.
Thank
Molly.
you.
Alex Cruz.
Good afternoon. Today I want to talk about the lack of bike lanes on the 111 going through this city. But first I want to talk about the comment of Councilmember Michael O'Keefe, who believes that law enforcement is the answer to our dangerous streets problem. Why would the most expensive solution that isn't even a permanent solution be efficient? It's not. It's more expensive than redesigning our roads and giving them road diets. And it still doesn't solve the issue because they are just a temporary Band-Aid. If we just redesign our roads to be more human-scaled, the problem would be solved forevermore and actually save lives. You said the police prevent accidents, but then in that case, why are people still dying? Because it's not a solution. Why are there no bike lanes on the 111? And why is there 6 lanes for personal vehicles when the road is mostly empty and has never had sustained traffic? It is long overdue for an installation of a bike lane there. Where are we supposed to ride? On the sidewalk? That's fine. If you want the sidewalk to function as a shared path between pedestrians and cyclists, then all that is required is to formally designate it as such. Put up signage that says shared path. This has nothing to do with the CV link. You don't have to call it that or make it any part of that project, but what you are supposed to do is complete this street. and right now it is an incomplete street. Ryan Stendell is refusing to fix the most deadly parts of our city because he accepts these deaths as collateral damage in favor of maintaining auto-oriented design, simply because it's not profitable to fix, simply because the real solutions may piss off the auto industry. Putting money over lives, it's unconscionable. Traffic engineering departments like Ryan's have blood all over their hands. Knowing that your design choices kill people, yet continuing to make those same design choices is 100% criminal. They do their work not based on science, but instead based off a rule of thumb that makes sure cars are prioritized. Will Campbell, John Henebry, and Peter Harvey are all bicyclists that lost their lives partly because of your design choices and because you don't want to do anything about it. How many more have to die for you to take action? And then he has the nerve to say, I ride my bike sometimes and I don't see a problem. You say, I don't see a problem with the super thin bike lane in front of the high school where Campbell was killed. When that happened in 2018, nobody has ever dared to ride on that bike lane again. Would you ride your bike there? If we didn't live in a petro state ran by pedophiles, you would be held accountable for your crimes. If you don't want to build the CV link, okay, then don't, but put the bike lane on the 111 where they belong. Your city is incomplete without it and resembles the type of infrastructure that is worse than a third world country. Please and thank you.
Brad Anderson?
Thank you. Brad Anderson, City of Rancho Mirage. Outstanding speakers today. Everybody has an excellent point. I have no comps about anybody speaking today. Public speakers only. Anyway, I wanted to circle back to item 7B. I know the only city council member that's
Non-agenda
not
public
elected.
comment. Non-agenda.
Yes, I'm not talking about the item. I'm talking about the item discussion. And I want to say, I understood her to say that she had the discussion and was informed. Now, was that a group discussion? Was that with other city council members? Maybe you can explain that later. And then the city manager, hopefully you won't interrupt me again. And
I will if you don't speak on non-agenda.
Wow, getting serious. Okay, I'm going to circle back to 7B, what was talked about by Mr. Downs and his confidence in the city manager, which I doubt is sincere.
He's not following.
But
Brad, I need you to please stick with non-agenda.
this is non-agenda public comment. I'm not talking about
not if you're
item
referring
7B.
to the agenda items that are here in the agenda.
I understand how this is going. And so
We're
I will
happy
go
to
ahead
receive,
and
we're happy to
continue.
receive your comments as
I will
long as they're-
continue, thank you. I would hope that the mayor would maybe rescind her current assignment to the Palm Springs Cemetery District Board, along with the city attorney. It's a total conflict of interest to hold that position for that long. So, and I understand you were appointed how many years ago? And I believe the meetings are roughly $300 per meeting now, is it? Something like that? So I'm just saying that maybe you should maybe concentrate on the city government versus your other appointments that has total conflicts of interest. And so, again, I wanted to state that, see, you got me all flustered. Palm Springs Transit, and I just, well, I'm sorry that you had to feel that you had to do that. So I'm going to go ahead. All my comments were submitted in writing today, so hopefully people can look at them. And in the future, I will start speaking on council comments when they come available. And hopefully you won't abuse public speakers in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Harrington?
Michael Harrington, Rancho Mirage. So I don't know. This might be similar to what Brad Anderson was encountered, because I kind of see that there are issues regarding the city, and it's not necessarily an agenda item. So let me know, if I got that wrong. But I would like to see the reports, the Treasury reports, clear. It seemed it's very muddled. And the whole point of the report is to have transparency because it's government money, right? It's not like your money. I don't mean it, but I mean, I don't have to give a report. Well, maybe to my wife, I do. But if I don't report to anyone or I don't tell my wife I bought something today, it's not a public matter. But you have public money and you're the stewards and guardians of that money. And I know you take that seriously, and I hear it when I see you talk. But I don't know if it's showing up when I read it. Very confusing reports. I mean, I don't want to get into it and be shut down, but I thought it was not clear. The whole point of accounting, I used to work in that field, it has to be clear. That's the point. Otherwise, it's not an accounting. So that accounting raises a lot of questions. There's a lot of issues too. The nonprofit gives this as their address here. And that's very confusing, muddling it all together. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying I would suggest you take that report and have it reviewed by legal compliance and independent counsel, the quarterly report. But also another topic, totally different. I did get a chance to meet that great CEO, and I am on a Citizens Advisory Council with Sunline, which is really great to give feedback. And all year I've been bringing up every few months throughout the year about getting that Sunride here, and I'm glad it's finally here. Our next meeting isn't for a few months, so I wasn't updated yet, but all last year I've been arguing for that. In a polite way. And I wrote a letter to Desert Sun, and I believe to you also, and now they have it. It's really great. I feel my advocacy contributed. Last thing, if youth are up here and they want, and I'm just saying that's great, why don't you get a youth council? Consider a youth council. It's great to get kids, not kids, I'm just old. Half of you are kids to me, okay? But it's great to get them involved. I grew up in a town where if you didn't want to be in a gang, you go to the library. But you got to fight when you leave the library. It was a tough town. Get them involved. Get a youth council. Have a youth advisory council. Set them up here. Have a time. Fill the seats. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington.
That was the last speaker card. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on something that is not on today's agenda? That was the last speaker.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now recess to closed session. Thank you for being here today.
I'll summarize the items before you listed as 9A on the closed session agenda. Conference with legal counsel, potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4, one potential case.
We've returned from closed session. I will ask the city attorney to report.
Thank you, Mayor. No reportable action taken today.
Thank you. And we will now adjourn the meeting at 3:42 p.m.